she's cold. Lads, lassies, welcome back to the YouTube, and today, welcome to kind of a different video, but something I've been wanting to do for a while. Effectively, I'm going to do like a board review slash comparison between the O'Brien Fix, which has just come out, and the O'Brien SOB. Now, both of these boards are Pro Model Signature Series boards. Sean O'Brien is the SOB, a good friend of mine, and also my fellow European teammate, Max and Van Helvoort. So both are friends of mine, so I'm going to try not to step on anyone's toes or annoy anyone, but at the same time give you a genuine, honest review, as I've just spent the last week riding the two of them in Hypnotics in Turkey, testing them as much as I can, trying every single thing and feature about it, and yeah, so let's get into it. Also, the reason my board's there is because I'm going to use it for reference later on in the video. So in this review and kind of comparison, instead of like talking about the technical side of things, I'm going to avoid that and try and dumb it down to tell you what it feels like to ride and make it kind of more relatable. So I've written down 7 key things on my arm because I have a terrible memory. So the first thing is the stance we're going to talk about. Then we're going to get into the grip, what it feels like on the water. Then next up is the size, like the different sizes that they come in, because it is an important one. The rocker, which is effectively how much kind of angle is on the board. The VLock, which is kind of only available on the Fix. So that's kind of a new feature which we're going to talk about. Probably the most pinnacle point of this review, actually. Then we're going to talk about the weight of the boards, and then lastly, the design. So first up, the stance. So I'm going to put up the stance figures on the screen, but effectively the stance is a huge thing, and this is actually kind of a positive thing, because if you know cable wakeboarding, if you follow it, as of really recently, it's very important to kind of have your stance really narrow. Kind of narrow stance is like this new phenomenon that I think Dylan Miller brought to the table. I personally am not a massive fan of it, but it's definitely the way forward, considering all the best cable riders in the world are doing this. So Max, being one of the best cable riders in the world, was so persistent on making sure that he had a narrow stance, so you can actually go insanely narrow. So this, in my opinion, is a pro to actually Max's board, so it kind of gives 1 point to Max's board. Next up is the grip on the water. Now, this is my pet peeve when it comes to cable boards, so this is why I brought this. Both boards come with so much kind of different grooves and channels to help you grip the water. That, in my opinion, is so important in wakeboarding. Now, when it comes to cable boards, generally most boards are completely flat underneath, and that is just so silly, because when it comes to landing, you're gonna have no grip, you're gonna slip out. So the SOB was one of the first boards that actually introduced a channel, and they did a really good job, and it's actually the main reason that I ride this board more than anything else. Now, Max was smart, and he saw that that was an unbelievable decision, so lo and behold, Max has added even deeper channels, which, in my opinion, which obviously this is one man's opinion, is incredible. Like, I am actually grateful for him doing that, because when you land off a kicker, there's no slipping. It's just, it almost feels like a boat board on the cable, which I adore. Next up is sizing. So the SOB is probably more user-friendly for kids, because it starts at 132 and goes to a 144, which is what I ride. Then the Fix, they've actually gone for this whole new craze. So the kind of two modern crazes in cable wakeboarding are skinny stance, big board. They're saying big board is better board, I think. I can't remember what the saying is, but they're effectively doing that. And Max has kind of said, like, I want a big board. So this goes, I think, from a 142 to a 154, which is a very large board. I ride the 146 because I was so used to the 144, so I said I'd get something similar, so it's a fair comparison. So yeah, that's the sizes. I think that's also a really good thing. Like, O'Brien definitely needed to bring out a bigger board, so I'm really glad they did. So yeah, that's the sizing. Next up is rocker. And so for those of you who don't know, because this is a very technical term that gets thrown around a lot, but actually most people don't know what it means, it is effectively the amount of kind of, I don't know what the word is, but if a board's like this, it never goes flat. It always lifts at the end. So rocker is a very common term in all board sports, and these boards actually have quite a lot of rocker. However, I think, from my own experience, I just looked at them on the ground and they look very similar to rocker. When you're riding, the SOB definitely feels like it has a bit more rocker, which in my opinion is nice. I've just realised we've left out 1 point, which is flex. So we'll talk about flex next. So flex on the boards. The SOB, without a doubt, is flexier. However, I've been riding that for a while, so maybe it's grown into the flex. Like the more you ride it, the more flex it gets. But right now, as it stands, that board has definitely a lot more flex than that board. Now I want to talk about the VLock system. So this is the newest technology, and it is, in my opinion, the best and the worst thing about the fix. So if you can see, effectively there is a V system here underneath, and what that does, in its simplest term, the purpose, the reason they designed this was so that when you get on a pipe or a rail, it locks into the rail. So it literally balances you. It's almost like a truck on a skateboard, and that to me is actually an incredible thing, especially when you're kind of struggling to get your line to the rail. You're always coming off a bit early. It just makes rail riding like 10 times easier at least. So that is why I love it. But at the same time, the channel more or less runs the whole way through the board. Now, although that is good, because even if you're not in a press, you can still 50-50 along a pipe the whole way, where you wouldn't be able to on the SOB. It also makes landings a little bit more like kind of intense and harder. This is another reason why I brought the boat board. So if you look at the boat board, there is kind of an angle, like a concave, I think is the word. And that concave, or maybe it's convex, I actually don't know. But that is designed so that when you land, it disperses water away to hopefully make it the softest of landings possible. Now that is a traditional boat board. Obviously that won't work on cable. So that's why most cable boards are flat underneath. To then go and make the actual opposite is why the landings are a little bit more kind of, I don't know what the word is, it's just a little bit harder when you land. So that's kind of a feature I don't necessarily love, but it is actually at the same time my favorite thing. I don't know how to describe it. It's such a love-hate thing for me. Like I was riding around the cable, I was hitting the rail, I was like, man, this board's so sick, this board's so sick. And then I like boost off a kicker or something, and my body would just be like, and I was like, damn. But Max literally nearly landed a triple flip on it, so it's obviously okay. Lastly, I want to talk about the graphic. So, in my opinion, the graphic is so important. Like, often beginners come to me and they say, what board should I buy or whatever. Often, a bit of my recommendation, as well as giving genuine advice, would be to choose a graphic you like. Because when you're not that good at wakeboarding, when it's new to you, you're going to learn to ride whatever board you have. So if you have a graphic that you really, really like, it's actually kind of important because you'll love the board. And it seems so silly and so shallow to say that, but it's actually true. And when I come in, I must mention, this is the 2018 SOB, this is the 2019 fix. So I'll insert a picture of the new SOB. So I don't know, in my opinion, but obviously this is completely subjective. I prefer the fix. It works so well with my stickers. I think that's actually why that's literally my reasoning for saying that graphic's better. But yeah, no, I genuinely think the graphic is a very, very important element that we do often leave out. So that's the technical stuff. Now, when it comes to actually riding them, after spending a week on each board and kind of figuring out every single little groove and every single little thing that I liked and disliked on both boards, I kind of came to the conclusion that they're both the goodest, if that makes any sense. Because they both have their strengths and they're two very, very different boards. It's like comparing a Lamborghini and a Ford Mustang. They're to bring different they bring different things to the table or to the board, no pun intended. The SOB, by far, if you're going to be hitting like some kickers and doing all that, it is without a doubt a better board because you're going to have softer landings. It's going to be nicer, you still have the grip. But then if you're talking about hitting pipes, advanced rails, locking in on nose presses, doing things like that, you would be mad not to get the fix because it is most certainly the best board on pipes. It actually leaves it as a very difficult thing, and I'm in a fortunate position where I'm probably just going to ride both depending on the session that I'm feeling. I don't know if that's a great comparison, but I just want to kind of give you all the information, the pros and cons of each, because no board is perfect in this world. Well, I mean, there's one board that's perfect. This board's obviously perfect, but you can't ride that on the cable. But no, seriously, they're both amazing boards. Actually really enjoyed them. Gonna still play around. I think a week is very hard to come up with a solution to which one is better for me. But either way, I want to say good work to both of the guys on savage builds. And yeah, I hope that this review is kind of informative. A lot of people on my Instagram were asking me, what's the fix like, what's the SOB like, which are you riding, and then I'd post like a picture. Obviously I got the fix, posted some pictures of that, and then I would like post a picture of me riding the SOB, and people are like, why aren't you riding the fix? Freaking out. It's called doing a comprehensive review and figuring out everything, going back and forth. I will say, probably no one cares about this, but if you want to do air tricks, this is definitely better, because with air tricks you're landing with so much speed anyway, and also it just locks in. Like I was talking about the grip, the fix is, it will fix your air tricks. I wish I didn't say such bad jokes. But anyway guys, that is it from this video. Join us on Sunday. We have another sick video from Hypnotics, trying out some legit banger tricks. It's kind of more of a riding video, me progressing my riding. Focusing on one rail. So tune in then, Sunday, 5 PM Irish time. It's also my birthday that day, not today. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you then.